The wheel in the caster assembly is also going to be a revolved part. It's got some interesting features. What we're going to do is to draw that cross section, that little half section right here. We draw that accurately, and we're going to draw it above an axis again. Now when we do a revolve, we'll get the entire wheel. Now we could even put in the fillets here, although I prefer again to add those as features. But we could do a single revolve and have the entire wheel come out of that without having to add the features after the fact. Again, I think generally it's a good idea to have fillets and chamfers be added as features to the part itself rather than be built into the sketch. But maybe, well, I'm going to do the sketch without the fillets and then we'll put them in after the fact. So we take a look at this. We're looking at 100 millimeter diameter on the part. We've got a 22 millimeter diameter on that hole, 38 millimeter diameter on the hub, and then we've got some dimensions over here representing the web and the outside rim. Got the thickness of the web, and then there's a little bit of a taper here. You'll notice it's 5 millimeters on the inside, 3 millimeters on the outside for the rim of that wheel. So flip over to SolidWorks. We're in a part mode. It's a metric part. I've already made that change. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to sketch mode. Again, I'm going to start with the center line, and I'll start again with the front plane. I'm going to line that center line up with the origin, go through the origin so that it's black when I'm done. Take a look at it from the front. Now this again is symmetrical. It's symmetrical not only around that axis, but it's also symmetrical side to side. So I'm going to add yet another center line. This one's going to go above the origin, drag down through it, so that I can then just draw 1/4 of the wheel as I start this process. So I'll start right on the center line. I'll come out half of the overall width of the wheel, and the overall width of the wheel is 38, so I'll come out about 19. Right about here. Bring it a little closer. Okay, now I'm going to go up, form the hub, come back in, form the web, come up at a fairly extreme angle, straight up a little bit, go right back till it hits that line. These are approximate sizes. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my mirror, and then I'm going to add the dimensions to it. Mirror entities, put the window around, go over the feature manager, mirror about, select that center line. Now I've got the shape I want. Now I could revolve that and it would look pretty much like the wheel, but obviously it wouldn't be correctly dimensioned. So we'll start with the overall dimension, top to bottom, bring it down here like that. That's approximately 100, so it's going to stretch or move fairly dramatically. The hole that goes through here like that. That hole has a diameter of 22. Now that brings it down and gives me the overall shape. The hub itself, same thing. Go down to the center mark and then go below it. The hub has a diameter of 38. So now I've got the diameters placed. The width of that web, 10 millimeters. Now the only thing left is the overall width from here to here. Bring that down, and that overall width is 38. And let's say that in this case, we could put the 38 dimension on the top as well. Let's just say we want to make sure that the width of that part of the rim of the wheel, that rim part, is always going to be the same as the length of this. In that case, what we can do is to put a dimension from here to here. But when we place the dimension, rather than type something in, I'm going to press the down arrow. And the reason I'm pressing the down arrow is that brings up the add equation dialog box. And what we're going to do is say we want the dimension that I just placed to be equal to something. And in this particular case, I'm just going to go down and pick the dimension I placed for the overall width of the hub. It adds it up here. So D6 is the name of that dimension that I'm putting in now, and D5 is the one that it's referring to. When I pick OK, it gets what's known as an equation-driven dimension. An equation-driven dimension is identified with that little symbol, which is actually the summation symbol mathematically, but it's just the one that's used to identify that as an equation. So if we came down here now and double-clicked on that dimension and decided that it had to be 46, what's going to happen is they both change at the same time. So we put this back to the 38 that it was. Looks like this. Now the only thing we have left is here. Now here we're going to use the smart dimension a little differently. We're going to dimension the endpoints of that line relative to the top of the part. That dimension is a 5. Move this one out of the way a little bit. And then from that end point to here, bring that out, and that's going to be a 3. Takes care of everything. We have now a fully defined sketch. Get out of the dimension mode. Go back over to features. Revolved base. Axis of rotation is right here. Just like that, you got your wheel. Now again, we could have built those fillets into the wheel itself when it revolved, but in this case I'm going to go ahead and add the fillets by just picking that edge and that edge. You can see that the size of the fillet by default is 10, which is a little big for what we're using here. And if you recall, it indicated that all fillets and rounds were 3 millimeters. We go over and change that to a 3. Now we've got the whole part done. By the way, you may have noticed that I'm using mouse gestures and that I have 8 of them here. By default, only 4 of them are placed, but I'm getting those by holding down the right mouse button and then moving slightly. I like these. It's a nice quick way to get a particular view, and when you're sketching you can pick up some tools. If you like the mouse gestures as well, you can go to the Customize menu. I'm going to go to the Help, Customize at the bottom. The Customize menu has several tabs, and one of those tabs is not coming up because it's not how you get it. You don't go to the Help menu. You just right-click on any toolbar. All more mistake. Let's try that one more time. Go to any of the toolbars, right-click, go down to the word Customize, not Customize menus. Customize. One of the tabs that comes up in that menu is Mouse Gestures. When mouse gestures comes up, you can either have 4 gestures or 8 gestures, or you can have it unenabled. I like it, so I have it set to 8, and you can actually determine what happens with each one of them. But by the default ones work pretty well. That's the ones I would use. That's how you do the wheel.